Welcome to the Allplan Quickstart Lesson 5, in which we will now supplement the main components of the ground floor. What should you expect from this lesson? In this lesson, we will create the ground floor exterior walls, several interior walls and interior doors, as well as a couple of windows on the stored basement. We will then create so-called rooms that directly give us the area determination and all finishing surfaces, and will then create a couple of outer dimensions, the slab over the ground floor, and will then deal with our building facade by using the story function. To finish, we will then take a brief look at the floor manager that is responsible for the heights in the model, and then we'll quickly change the story height in the ground floor. Allplan users need about 5 minutes to do this with our specific project data in practice, but in this video, we'll take a little more time again. We again begin by opening the building structure, right-clicking in the background, and double-clicking one of the drawing file favorites that I prepared to load it. Lesson 5.1 Start. We close the building structure by clicking Close. Since the drawing file 131 is now active, we can start entering the exterior walls in the ground floor. We have already practiced this process in the basement in Lesson 4, so it should also go much faster here in the ground floor. We switch to the wizard palette, zoom to the prepared ground floor walls, scroll closer to them, and double-click with the right mouse key to decide on the cafe exterior wall. The function is started, the properties of the prepared wall are accepted, and we focus on drawing in the design window. We create the 4 exterior walls significantly faster than the exterior walls in the basement. To do this, we select the rectangular component, click on a corner, turn the wall structure around in this case, and click on the diagonal opposite point and complete the entry by pressing Escape. Pressing the F4 key opens an additional animation window, and I see that the 4 exterior walls were neatly created already at the correct height. We will see later on in this video why the height of the walls already fits exactly. Since we now no longer need the stored basement, we switch it off in the building structure. In the next step, we create a few interior walls. To do this, we go back into our prepared component collection, the wizard. I double-click with the right key on the cafe interior wall supporting masonry, zoom into the extension lines I created in the plan, click on the desired starting and then end point, and close the function by clicking Escape. In the wizard, I next take the cafe interior wall non-bearing masonry and create a couple of other interior walls in the same way. Then a couple more concrete interior walls are added to finish it off. I would have liked to create this interior wall here in a wall thickness of 15 centimeters and not 11.5 centimeters. I can very easily change this later in the settings, for example. In Allplan, you can always find the settings of an element by double-clicking with the left mouse key on the respective element. This wall's settings open, I change the wall to 15 centimeters and close the settings by clicking OK. The interior doors are created just as quickly and easily. In the wizard, I double-click with the right key to select an interior door with closed frame by not clicking on the wall or the door smart part, but rather on the door opening itself. I zoom in on this point in the plan and move to the left along the wall with the red door preview on the crosshairs until approximately the point where the door is to be placed. Somewhere next to the wall, I left-click once and Allplan projects a small square exactly at the height of my mouse click on the wall. A preliminary door opening is also already shown even in the animation. A small temporary arrow is also created. The offset between this and the small square is specified in meters below in the dialog line and should help me with the entry. I could now change the value here and confirm it by pressing the Enter key if I had considered a value for the doorstop. However, since my doors are to be placed at the points marked at the extension lines, I simply left-click on one of the points. Allplan places the arrow there, and I change the entry in the dialog line to 0 because my door is to begin exactly at the arrow with an offset of 0. After confirming the value of 0 with the Enter key, the door is already correctly situated, and I confirm the suggested width again by pressing the Enter key. By left-clicking next to the wall in the direction of the 4 now possible stop directions, I determine the direction, decide on it, and close the doors by pressing Escape. The door function itself is still active, and since I have to create more doors, I do this now, and you see I can of course enter this directly at this desired place if the position of a door is already fixed by means of extension lines. It's just as simple to place windows from the wizard in the model. I double-click with the right key on the floor-to-ceiling window from the wizard in the window opening and simply place it in the plan, just like with the doors. Since the floor-to-ceiling windows in our example consist of 2 elements each, we simply create the second element now from the other side. To do this, I simply turn around the anchor point, ensuring that the long red preview line is on the exterior side of the wall. I click at the desired point and confirm the width again with the Enter key. I repeat the whole thing for the second floor-to-ceiling window. And then also again on the front side of the building. However, I don't want to subdivide the windows on the front side and set the windows at the desired point and then click on the desired end point in order to specify the width. Alternatively, if present, I could also specify the window width below in the dialog line. On the right side of the building, I again generate 2 elements per window. And just like with the doors and how the door smart part was created in one go very simply next to the actual door opening, it's also the case here with the windows. The window openings are created and the window smart parts are directly attached. Why is this? It's quite simple. The architecture smart parts, such as windows, doors, and many other parts, are sub-objects of the respective opening. If you double-click with the right mouse key on the existing door or window opening, and this already contains a smart part as a sub-object, then this will also be created right away without any additional effort. Allplan rooms are a very exciting and powerful topic. We create the first room like this. When double-clicking with the right mouse key on the guest room, ensure that you really grab the room and not the labeling. Ensure that this check mark is checked for the input options and the area detection is active, and click anywhere in this area. The area is automatically found and the red selection allows for a visual check. There is already a labeling suggestion on the crosshairs for this room, but we would like to use a label of our own choosing, and so we click on Label Style and select a prepared label style. I simply set this down in the room with a left click and close the function by pressing Escape. In the animation, you can now see the floor and wall surfaces that this room provides. Of course, you can also customize these in everyday office life. I create 3 more rooms for which I no longer have to select the correct label style, since Allplan remembers the last setting. So that you can see it, I will create the last room by hand, that is, by clicking on all corners. You can also do it this way. By the way, the room labeling that we have created with a so-called label style is associative and changes when you make a change to the room. In order to generate a couple of outer dimensions, I go back to the wizard, double-click with the right mouse key on the upper dimension string Dimension Walls, and click on these 3 walls in the plan. The 3 walls are highlighted together. I confirm the selection simply by right-clicking next to the model and tell Allplan that the upper horizontal exterior wall should be my directional wall by clicking on a line of this wall. The dimension strings are now attached to the crosshairs in the desired direction, and I deposit them in the location I want with a click. I repeat this on the other 3 sides of the building. Now we will deal with the slab over the ground floor. To do this, we go into the building structure and load the drawing file favorite Lesson 5 to Slab. In the wizard, double-click with the right mouse key on the slab over the cafe, click in the plan on the first wall corner on the inside of the insulation, click on the diagonally opposite corner, and then on Escape, and the slab is created. And now, as promised, here are a few sentences about the heights of the components. Open the building structure and the floor manager here. The plane model is shown to you in this floor manager. Left is a list and right is a graphic. I have already specified a couple of heights here for story heights and slab thicknesses beforehand in the Quickstart project. You can do this too later in everyday office work. When creating the components that we have created together in the Quickstart project, I have just made sure that the components themselves are properly connected to these planes. Example: I have given the information for each wall that it should simply go from the bottom level to the top level in the respective story. You can very easily provide this information in the wall settings. It's the same screen in which we just changed the wall thickness of a wall. The list and the graphics are interactive. You can change values here, and that is exactly what I'm doing now. I also changed the story height in the ground floor, but the height of the basement should remain unchanged. The entire model will adapt to this change. The change is thus easily identified in 3D as well. I simply changed the story height of the cafe from 3.1 meters to 5 meters. We will then, of course, undo this change. So I changed the value to 5 meters, and after confirming the value, Allplan asks me two justified questions. What happens with the heights above and below my change? I specify this here, confirm it twice by pressing OK, confirm the following screen also by pressing OK, and leave the building structure. Allplan briefly recalculates the entire model and finally shows me the raised ground floor with the raised windows, the changed rooms with the adjusted finishing surfaces, and the slab that has been moved upwards. The top level of the windows has also been moved up because that's what I want. Of course, I could have alternatively given the windows a fixed top level, then these would have remained at their original height. But before we undo the height change, we will take a quick look at the Allplan function story. Therefore, we switch the drawing file 131 to active again. In the wizard, double-click with the right key on the story wooden facade, switch on the area detection using additional point, and switch off the island detection. In the plan, click on a point somewhere on the exterior wall line. Caution, please do not click any corner or point of intersection and then click outside the building and close the function by pressing escape. With this method, Allplan has found this outline of the building itself, and this also works well with complex geometries. In the animation, you can see that the facade completely encloses the building. Each window and door opening is automatically detected and is created from the outside down to the respective smart part. I use this story component for three things. Firstly, I can create the gross area content calculation with a report at any time with an Allplan story at the press of a button. Secondly, I can calculate the area of the facade up to the correct analysis of soffit surfaces, and in this example, it also gives me my facade preview. And of course, it also responds to changes in the floor manager. We go into the building structure, open the floor manager, and change the modified height back to the original value of 3.1 meters. After confirming this with the Enter key, we quickly indicate what the change should affect, confirm this 3 times with OK, and close the building structure again. All affected heights are recalculated and the model is updated. By the way, the preview of the walls in the plan is an Allplan suggestion and refers to a design drawing in this example. You can see this here at any time. The Allplan walls used here can of course also be adjusted to other so-called drawing types, namely with a click. The same walls would look like this in a working drawing. Of course, you can also easily change the appearance of the Allplan components in your office to meet your own needs. Another note about the appearance of the animation window: you can set this yourself even depending on the graphic card used. There are 2 functions for this which you can view. One is the surroundings, which I reach by right-clicking in the animation, and I can set the location of the planned building. The position of the sun or north, a virtual ground plane, and the background. The second point are the settings for the animation window itself. Here you can change the shadow qualities from hard to soft, for example, or switch on ambient occlusion. To complete the lesson, we now load some of the components I have prepared by selecting the drawing file favorite, Lesson 5, 3 ground floor in the building structure.